You're on with Grizz Nation with CEO Maury, the Grizz Taylor. Talk radio heavy on America and no bull. Forget the politicians. Here's the Grizz.
And good evening. Sunday, November 29th, the last Sunday of the month, 2015 in the Gregorian calendar, as I so do love to say. And welcome to another episode of Grizz Nation here on WHO and the Grizz Nation Radio Network. My name is Thomas LeDuc, and I'm happy to be along here with you. And I'm sitting next to the host of the show, the man that they call the Grizz affectionately, Mr. Maury Taylor. How are you, sir?
Pretty good there, Thomas. How was your turkey day?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good.
Uneventful. If they're uneventful, they're good.
That's for sure.
You know?
But, anyhow, we got a lot to talk about.
We got a ton to talk about.
First thing, I got this, I listened to the interview with this Roger Stone on a local WLJR. I think it was John Beckham. Anyhow, it's a new book out. The Clintons' War on Women.
Yes.
And it's by Roger Stone and Robert Morrell. And I've read about 3/4 of it. And it's very interesting. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should read it. It not only tells you about the war that gives you a lot of insight to the Clintons, and it also has a lot on the Bushes.
Oh.
And it's an interesting triangle that they've created. Couple of things you might not know that, former President Clinton, it was when he was running, it was very interesting about, remember, he was a Rhodes Scholar, so he went to Oxford.
Yes.
But nobody tells you that he got thrown out of Oxford. A rape of a 19-year-old Elaine Wellstone.
What?
For which he was thrown out of Oxford. He's had dozens of other assaults on women, including Juanita Broderick.
Yep.
Carol Muffett, Liz Warren Grayton.
Wow.
Helen Dollery, Christy Zerker, and Paula Jones. It's really a weird, and they go on about a lot of things that will surprise a lot of you ladies, reference Hillary. But by gosh, Hillary, when it comes to politics and money, they really, they put the heavy hand down, and she's pretty strong about doing that. And she hired some private detectives. They beat up a few people, but she found out everything that Bill was up to. And it brings you the strange relationship with your number one lady there.
Whoa. Who's my number? Whoa. My number one?
Yeah. Remember what you call her?
Oh, Uma Wiener.
Uma Wiener.
Uma Wiener.
But Eden. And
now that's a weird.
It's a real weird thing.
Now I got to read the book.
Then you read about, President Clinton with his convicted pedophile, this Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire who has a penance for underage women, actually been convicted for it.
Yep.
And then you find out all the other people that are involved into it.
Yep.
That part is very sickening, okay? Then you get into Chelsea and, you get into all the dark things of the family. And, it's really a good book. It's something to look at. And by the way, and that this is all hearsay. If you look, this much of the book, because people don't like to be sued.
Yeah, that's true.
This is out of the cases that have been filed and everything else. It's pretty thick, folks. It's pretty thick. Interesting. Very interesting book. I recommend it. Get it for
Christmas?
Get it for Christmas
Yeah.
if you want it.
Roger Stone is one of the more interesting people in political. I mean, he's been around since the Nixon administration.
Yeah, he's been around through
Yeah.
a whole mess of presidential. He's been in it, and
Yep.
they've.
Look,
It's surprising, you know, Bill and Hillary between them, since they left office, they've made well over 300 million.
wow.
And when you look at this of where they
Wow.
what they've been doing,
300
it's like
million.
on Chelsea. Everybody wondered how she got a starting job at
NBC.
NBC, which
Yeah.
was owned by General Electric. She got a 600,000 salary.
Yeah, just for breathing.
That's pretty big. Well, only when you find out that Hillary, as Secretary of State, had to approve a defense contract. Yeah, it's really slime at. It's just bad. Then you get into all the Arkansas stuff.
You're
Really,
gonna
really
change. You're gonna
bad.
change calling her. You're not gonna call her the babe anymore, are you?
Well, I'll call her the babe.
Ugh.
The other thing is,
Ugh.
you know, we have this situation, you know, with all the refugees, and since we're on the radio in beloved state of Iowa, I mean, I know there's been an awful lot of refugees that the people of Iowa always have had an open, big heart. And, you know, this is a state that has a strong Christianity bent to it. And so, and that's even the Democrats. But you ought to
Right.
take a look at something, look a little farther than what you read in your very liberal papers and news medias out there.
Right.
You know, Obama's been playing this politically correct card as always.
Well, before we jump into that, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to tell people how they could reach out if they want to talk to us.
Oh, call us at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor.
You can tweet us.
And that's a toll-free call.
We like the tweets.
But back to Obama and what's going on out in
Presidente.
Iowa. You know, he was called out by Senator Stetson from Alabama that they've already caught 15 vetted refugees already been caught joining terrorist efforts in our nation. And that's only 15 out of just a few that we do know that have come across. Now, you know, there's another thing that's bothered a lot of people, and it goes to President Obama and the media. And this is really on the media. You know, you could ask the president, why didn't he go to France to show the solidarity
Yeah.
against the Muslim terrorists? You should ask him. But if you really think about it, President Obama said at an Islamic dinner, "I am one of you."
They said that was a goof, though.
Well, President Obama also on ABC, "My Muslim faith."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was also President Obama
Before Stephanopoulos corrected him.
who gave, yeah, well, all the liberals have to run around because they don't want to believe what he's saying.
Right.
And he also gave $100 million to fund foreign mosques. That's our taxpayers' dollars. That's not his money, but
Nope.
just like Hillary, they're really tapped into it. And President also went and at a conference, he stood up and said, "I will stand with the Muslims." And it was also him who exempted Muslims from the penalties under Obamacare that all of us have to pay.
And aren't
And
they?
most people don't know that, folks.
Aren't they taking on the the sisters there for the coverage of abortion coverage or something. I forget exactly.
They're after
Sisters
the
of the
Muslims
Poor.
are exempt.
Yeah.
So it was also
wonder about
President Obama who omitted when he was talking about the creation and we were endowed by our Creator from the Declaration of Independence. He was reciting the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
It was also President Obama who mocked the Bible and Jesus Christ up on giving a sermon on the mountain. And he referred to, the Holy Quran. It was also him who appointed Rabid Islamic to Homeland Security. Think about that. You think he's going to vet all these terrorists that, refugees coming in? He's the first president not to give a Christmas greetings from the White House. Think about that.
Is that true? That's true.
He's just finished 7.
He's going to be 7 years.
7 years.
7 years, yeah.
And
never done a Christmas greeting.
And this is where he won Iowa. So, when you start looking at these Democrats, it's not the old party of Democrats. The news media has totally changed. They've gone a little bit on the real deep end. And you have to wonder.
Wow.
He's, and just like Hillary, they refuse to say, the Islamic terrorist. They, we can't offend them. They don't assimilate, folks. They don't believe what we believe.
Who's his right-hand man?
And who?
Valerie Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and Valerie's from where?
Now,
family's from
Valerie
Iran. She's
Jarrett,
from Iran.
It was President Obama who appointed her his chief advisor. Well, Valerie Jarrett is Iranian, and she is a member of the Muslim Sisterhood, which is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Wow.
And it was also the President Obama who said, this country is not a Christian nation. Well, you better start and think about, just because they talk nice, they smile nice, check into them. So there's one thing that when I said earlier to read the book, you'll be shocked when you read the book and you find out how many people have lost their lives crossing the Clintons. It's really kind of scary because they really don't care. And it's all got to do with money. And when you sit there and look at this nation and...
Well, Grizz, they were broke when they left the White House, though.
Pardon?
They were broke when they left the White House.
They were broke with $8 million. So they just lied. That's all what I'm saying. And, it's not just them, but it does bring up a point. You've got 3 people who are non-politicians running this time. You have, of course, the Trump, Donald.
Yep.
And then you have Carly Farina, the lady.
Yep.
And you have Dr. Ben Carson.
Yipper.
And in Iowa, those 3 should be at the top of your list. I'm telling you, the rest of them can talk, smile, but you better think about it. And
well, you said a couple weeks ago or about a month ago that Iowa put the president on the map, and Iowa coming up. The caucuses are
64 days.
Is it 64? Yeah, 64 days away. That's right, 64 days. So
anyhow, the second is, we talked about the Swedes. The Swedes, they've been a nation.
Love the chocolate.
They turn around and it's cold. There's not that many of them, and they've always been kind of socialistic. But they're shutting down their borders. They don't. They're kind of liberal, folks. If you see the Europeans doing it, you know, we don't want to get out in front of this.
Yeah,
one. I'll tell you right now.
They don't want any. You know what? They're looking at Germany right now and going, "You guys are nuts."
They're looking at Germany, and Germany is nuts right now.
Yeah.
And you look at, you know, what the terrorists are doing, and Obama. You know, you wonder,
Obama.
Is he really serious? What the hell is he trying? I don't think he really gives a damn.
He probably
he's not
doesn't.
told anybody his plans. He can't say radical Islam. You know, it. Let's just put it this way: fool you once, fool you twice is really shame on you.
It is
And
shame.
an awful lot of you that voted, you know.
Two
I
times in
didn't
a
vote for
row.
him either time. I don't have a problem
two
saying
times in a row. Grizz, you want to take our first break?
it. No.
No, he doesn't want to take the
No.
first break. All right.
And while we're talking about this,
Okay.
it came out last week. Al Qaeda suicide bombers took out key IS leadership. Isn't that one terrorist is after another one? You know, I mean, it's too bad we can't like let them just stay away and.
Well, what are they?
Go shoot
What are they
each
fighting
other.
over? Land.
Well, they're fighting over the money too,
Yeah.
and it always comes down to the money and power.
Yep.
And you know, that's like politics too. And after reading this book, you'll see how why the Clintons are fighting so hard, and how, you know, if the American public, she's lied so many times. How can the Democrats? Where are the Democrats of old that got a love for this country? Next thing is, you look at the universities. You look at everybody's going wacko. You got a bunch of kids in universities running around, running their mouth off. You know, we have problems always, but you don't solve them by throwing everybody out. It's really crazy. Some of these kids, so much for timeout, no discipline. It's crazy. So now we can go to our.
We want to go to a break now. Okay, well, that's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first break here on Grizz Nation.
And give us a call at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor.
We will be right back. You are listening to Grizz Nation with Maury Taylor on the Grizz Nation Radio Network.
This is for all you farmers out there in Grizz Nation who thought you could get better performance by dumping your tractor tires in favor of tracks. It might have seemed like a good idea at the time, but that was before you knew about a new technology in farm tires called LSW, developed by Goodyear Farm Tires, made by Titan. LSW stands for low sidewalls. That allows tires to operate on lower air pressure. LSW can outperform any track, horsepower to horsepower, with less compaction, a smoother ride, and lower fuel costs. We have hundreds of farmers who can tell you what they have found using the Goodyear Farm LSW tires and wheels. Just go to lswadvantage.com or call 1-800-USA-BEAR or see your local farm implement dealer. You'll be surprised at what you'll discover. The Grizz has got one question for all you farmers who've bought a new piece of farm equipment lately. You're probably mighty pleased with all the newfangled improvements, but did you know your 21st century piece of equipment is outfitted with tires developed as long as 50 years ago? That's why you still suffer from power hop, road lope, and high compaction. You might want to take a minute to learn about something called LSW.
That's the new technology developed by Goodyear Farm Tires made by Titan. LSW tires have lower sidewalls. Why is that important? Well, it allows tires to operate on lower air pressure. The result, no more power hop and road load, reduced compaction, and lower fuel costs to boot. Take a few minutes to learn more about LSW tires at lswadvantage.com or call 1-800-USA-BEAR or see your local farm implement dealer and get the most out of your new farm equipment.
Welcome back to GrizzNation. Not safe for work if you're a bureaucrat. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to talk with Maury Taylor, the Grizz.
Well, welcome back, folks. And again, you want to talk to us, that toll-free number is 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor. We got a call.
We do, Mr. Taylor. James from Canton, Ohio wants to discuss media responsibility. James, you're on GrizzNation with Maury Taylor.
How you doing, James?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing good. How you doing, Maury?
Pretty good, pretty good. What would you like to know?
Well, here's the thing. Why am I the only, why am I only hearing about these things on shows like yours? I mean, doesn't the media have a responsibility to report these things too?
Well, they do, but you have to understand that, like I mentioned earlier, the Clinton's War on Women, this book out by Roger Stone, it's really interesting when you read this book and all this stuff that came out that he's bringing out, and it's documented. He's done a hell of a job. And what transpired is a lot of the media, the various news agencies and everything, they turned around and they just buried it. They didn't want it. In fact, they've had some of these investigative reporters have jumped in to take some of these accusations or what people brought, and all of a sudden they find that their editors, they wrote their stories and they just got shoved off. They didn't get printed. And so you've got the people sanitizing, and why are they sanitizing the information? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, it's financial. Like I mentioned, why would someone pay Chelsea $600,000 a year at NBC?
Yeah.
That's just a pure, simple fact. Well, it's real simple. NBC at that time was owned by GE. GE was bidding for a multi-billions of dollars of a contract, and it needed Secretary of State Clinton's approval. And of course, they were told real quick, why did you think they hired her? Because they were told to. And once she was hired, they got the nod. But this goes back so many years. It goes all the way to when the Clintons were in Arkansas. To play, you have to pay to play. And it's the same thing in Obama's. And, there's people probably that can say the same thing about the Republican side.
I'm sure there are.
It's a mess. And the reason it's a mess is because the federal government's got so big. It's one thing when you have it at the state level, Because you don't like it, you can move. You don't like it, you got to move out of the United States. And that's nuts. And so, what I believe has to happen is U.S. government's got to get smaller and smaller. And the only way that's going to happen is if we start electing non-politicians, because at some point, I believe it will take hold. But it's still going to be somebody that's got to be tough, and that's one thing. I think everybody knows. I kind of like the three non-politicians, starting with Trump first, and then Carly Farina, and then I drop down to Ben Carson. Then if I'm going to drop any farther, I'll take on Cruz. That's the reason, James.
Thank you, James, for the call. Let me ask you a question before you jump into your next point here. Do you think actually that the three that you just mentioned, Trump, Carly, and Carson, any one of them would be able to actually cut and shrink the federal government even 3%?
Oh, yeah. I believe either of the first two could get it done.
Okay.
I think the doc would have a
harder time?
I think he would have a harder time because he would take longer to get a consensus.
Okay.
I think Trump would probably do the job the quickest and the fastest. I think a long term, I think Carly would probably get it done too.
Okay.
I think she has the mindset to how you have to do it, and the bulldog tendency to keep pushing it.
Okay.
Whoever goes in to do it, you're going to be fighting 40,000 lobbyists, and you're going to be fighting the major networks. I mean, when you look at how many people have watched the debates this year, it's been a greater than ever before.
Right.
And you have to start to ask yourself, why do we give these NBC, ABC, CBS, why do they get all this free airspace?
Yeah.
All right. So, maybe it should be divvied up a little bit more.
Well, I mean, there's been talk about just going directly to YouTube and not having to deal with any of the, because that CNBC debate was just absolutely, I know it was atrocious.
Well, I know the debates were, but I'm trying to, and they're trying to play gotcha.
Right.
And they just, they blew it. They totally blew it, and it showed their colors. And but the whole thing about it is that you've got to turn around and say, "Hey, enough's enough," and move from there.
Right.
So that's what I think. So
well, what the next talking point here is about
Teddy Cruz is on the rise
in Iowa, which what is it? 64 days to the caucuses, like we said earlier. Yeah. So
and for you, well, out in Iowa, they know he's a Texas senator, and he's
a maverick.
He's a maverick. He no one expected him. He's a Tea Party candidate. He's very smart. I don't know about his his experience on a lot of it, but I think he can. He's going to do pretty good. He's a hell of a debater, but very few people could talk better than Clinton. So, and Clinton was a debater too. So,
well, Cruz out of the people, you mentioned it about the three people who are non-politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Cruz out of the people who are elected politicians is the one that has quote unquote bucked the establishment the most. He's been a thorn in Mitch McConnell's side even before he was the majority leader. And that here it is that a lot of Carson people, they theoretically believe that are peeling off to go to Cruz there was an article just written by somebody that I read that said that it goes along this same line here, the talking point, that Karl Rove is now trying to bolster Carson a bit because of it bleeding off to Cruz, and they'd rather have Rubio.
Yeah, well, they all can. The political establishment, they got their hands
deep.
Yeah, they've all been out running ads on Trump. The media's on Trump. Everybody's on Trump because they figure that whether it's Carson or Carly, that they're gonna, fall down themselves.
Right.
Trump, they got to worry about because, like Trump says, he's got the cash and he can stay, and he's not going to be indebted to him.
And he's hardly spent any money.
So
he's the richest guy in the race, and he's hardly spent any money. I mean, he's putting on a show.
He's that's driving them all nuts. Yep. And he's not running with a bunch of their consultants, but he's got a great ground game. People can tell you in Iowa, and the media is saying, "Oh, he's doing all these dumb things." No, he's he's made a few mistakes, but he tells it like it is, and he's going to keep moving. And if you say it, why do you want to run around and apologize? Look at our current president. No one even brings up the harebrained stuff that we brought up that he said.
Yeah.
And, he takes off to Hawaii because he doesn't want to stay around for Christmas.
No, I don't blame him.
I mean, the whole thing is a joke. And
it's kind of cold.
He's appointing. He told everybody he wasn't going to sign the defense bill.
Yeah.
That's because... next president's going to take a while before he can turn around and clean up the mess. Anyhow,
if you want to join us here on Grizz Nation, you can call us at 855-984-7499. That's toll free, 855-984-7499, or reach out to us on the Twitters that the kids are all crazy about at Maury Taylor.
The Czechs, that's the city of Prague, is the capital. They're letting the terrorists win because they've canceled their annual Christmas tree lighting out of security fears.
Really?
Well, there's one thing you can't do.
Yeah.
You can't, start fearing the terrorists. If you want your freedom, you got to fight for it. So, the terrorists, the Islamic terrorists, are going to hate you anyhow because you're Christian. And why is this so new? This has got to be all new to so many people in Europe because you had the Crusades. You've been fighting this thing for thousands of years, folks, and all you liberal fools who think, we're all going to be here and get on. No. They're going to have their leaders and their religion. It's simple as ABC. Okay.
If you really want to take a look at it, France is probably one of the icons for leftism, right? Liberalism, and the Muslims, they've gone after them now 3 times, in the past year.
Well, the only thing is they've went after them. They've done it, and finally, after this last one, they're getting a message. You have the president, who's a socialist, who basically said, "Hey, we're at war." Now,
that is true.
The thing is,
he said that. Yeah.
Is it their 10-day war, or are they going to stamp them out? Okay, and everybody else better figure it out because it's just going to get worse. They killed more each time, folks. Each time. And another thing you better do in Europe, you better start arming your citizens.
Yeah.
You better think about it. Y'all run around there without guns, and they got guns. Same thing happened. First thing did. Haven't you learned anything? The Nazis took everybody's gun too. They'd protect you. Yeah, they sure did.
What was it? It's in one of the releases that they put that there were like 7 or 8 towns in Texas that they had said, were on the quote unquote ISIS list. And it was like, you want to go to Texas and try to, I mean, down there, having a gun is kind of like, having air conditioning in your car. You want to take on people who are armed?
Well,
Jeez, I mean, not saying that other states aren't, but Texas, for God's sake.
well, it's kind of funny that they said Washington D.C.,
Right.
New York,
Right.
and what was the other one? They had one more out there.
Los
too.
Angeles or Chicago?
I don't know which one. Well, the joke is they when you look at Washington D.C. and their gun policies, the problem is there. They'd have to stay where all the tourists are, so they wouldn't have guns.
Right.
And then they wouldn't know what to do. But when you want to screw around in New York City, you could probably do a lot of damage there. And probably Chicago.
Chicago, I don't know, just
because you don't have the guns there. Big cities are where you got to go. Except you don't want to do, as you mentioned, Texas, because they got rifles in the back of the window.
Even with the elitist in Austin.
Well, they might do some more with the elitist in Austin, but there might be a few Texans coming to town and just be there to help them out.
Real quick, this past holiday weekend in Chicago, 80 plus shootings. 80 plus shootings this holiday weekend in Chicago, and I think 5 to 10 people lost their lives. And that's in a town that it is so hard to get a gun. That is incredible. And that's Rahm Emanuel, who's the ballet dancer who used to be the chief of staff for President Barack Obama.
Yeah, well, he's a ballet dancer.
That's right.
He's
a fabulous guy.
I don't know what Obama, but you can call us at, if you got a comment, call us at 855-984-7499.
You want to take our next
break?
break?
Take a break, and then we'll get into the last few.
Let's take another break. You are listening to Grizz Nation here with Mr. Maury Taylor, live on the Grizz Nation Radio Network.
No one knows your farm tire needs any better than the Van Wall John Deere Goodyear folks in Madrid, Iowa. And right now, you can upgrade your late model four-wheel drive, tractor, and combines with all the new Goodyear LSW tires made by Titan at remarkable prices and get a fair value for your trade-in. Don't keep running 40-year-old tire technology. Change over to LSWs. Reduce your risk of operating in wet conditions. Keep on going in conditions that cause others to change fields. And lower your fuel costs to boot. John Deere is now offering the LSW option on their rubber-tired four-wheel drives, so you know this is the real deal. To get a quote from one of the Van Wall tire consultants, call 515-795-3400 or go to their website at vanwall.com. Van Wall Equipment, for all your farm tire needs.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
Grizz Nation. No Bull Talk Radio with Maury, the Grizz Taylor. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join in. Stand by for the Grizz.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, we've got a couple calls we're going to take, but if you want to reach us, call us at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor. What do you got?
Stephen from Kansas, but that was my turn to bring it in.
Well, you're a little slow. Get the call. Hello, Stephen.
Stephen from Kansas. Want to talk about top candidates in the media? Welcome to Grizz Nation with Maury Taylor.
How you doing, Stephen?
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm doing just fine. I'm traveling at night again, and I picked you guys up in Kansas at this time of the evening, and you guys have a great show. I just want to thank you for being on the air.
Thank you.
I do want to reinforce a couple of things about the 3 or 4 top candidates, about Trump and Carson and Cruz and Fiorina. We have to, this year, not listen to the media, not listen to the parties, and it's very important this particular year, so we don't slide any further down a black hole, that we do not listen to the media. They're just it's almost a 1984-ish type thing with the newspeak and the doublethink. We've got to respect the candidates, these 3 or 4 candidates that are in front. Listen to them, listen to what they say, and make our choice. And hopefully, one of those 3 or 4 top candidates will bring us through the next 4 years.
Well, I agree with you, and I think an awful lot of listeners out there are going to agree with you. I do believe, personally, and this is just me, I'm older than him, Trump, and I appreciate that he can get a little full of himself at times, but we all can. He's got a lot to be proud about, and that was part of his gig. But he is not a dumb man, and as he's said a number of times, when you have as many people shooting arrows at you, you've got over 100 and some million went to Jeb Bush that he's almost blown through.
Yep.
And, you know, you look at the money going into Hillary and everything else, it's quite obvious that the middle class, they can all talk about it. Yeah, middle class went down. Why don't everybody just stop, take a deep breath, figure out why? It was the Clintons. You heard Bernie Sanders stand up there. You know, we repealed the Glass-Steagall. Well, who did that? The Clintons did. Who made the money on that? I mean, it is so idiotic. And then you hear about this financial crisis that we went into. Now you've got less banks, and what happens when you got less banks? You get less money is being loaned to small businesses than in our history going back to the Depression. It's stupid. You need more banks. You need them local. But you see, when you have that, then the federal government doesn't have the control. And how dumb can we be? You got the control now of our high schools. You got we talked about it a week ago or 2 weeks ago, how they've got, you got to worry about little Johnny. Does he think he's Sally? And you go on and on. This is stupidity. Just have one bathroom and they can all go to the bathroom and shower together.
Well, there you are.
I mean, you want to talk about the perverts? Well, you got ex-President Clinton. He's got a big passion for underage girls. This is a fact.
Whoa.
You read this book. Look at the pictures, my friends. So the whole thing is you got to get involved. And you got to make your local government stronger, everybody else, but you got to make the federal government much smaller.
Stephen, Stephen,
anyhow, Stephen, that's my 2 cents.
Let me ask you, do you have a favorite yet?
Yes, I do. I like Mr. Cruz, and
Okay.
He's a
And
good
I
guy.
just believe that he sees that our future lies in our past, understanding our Constitution and standing up firm for our form of government. And I just think this is really one of our last chances. I know they say this every 4 years, but I really do believe that this is one of our last chances to get a hold of our government and make it right. And this program that you guys are running are going to help achieve that, I hope.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right.
Drive safe. We
Drive
appreciate
safe
it.
going across there.
Thank you.
You
All
got
right.
it, sir.
All
Thank you.
We got another caller. Who's that?
Let me take a look here.
From Chicago.
I don't have a name on this. Will. Oh, Will. Okay. Will, welcome to Grizz Nation with Maury Taylor.
How you doing, Will?
Hello?
Well, yeah, Will, can turn the radio down, please.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Will.
I'm on live right now?
You're live right now, Will, with Maury Taylor.
Oh, great. I'm one of the elitists out of Austin you were mentioning earlier.
Okay.
Also, a college student who mouths off a little too much, I guess, from your perspective.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're a student out of Texas from going to University of Texas, I take it. You know, if you're...
No, I go to Indiana University.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you're in the... Well, congratulations to you. You're going to a bowl game. You know, been quite a while since University of Indiana went to a bowl game.
All right, so you want
what
to
are you
talk
studying?
No.
I'm studying finance and business analytics.
Real good. Well, here. Now, I went to school as an engineer, okay? But let me tell you, I've had a little bit of success, but I'll tell you what I've told every college student that I've given a talk or high school. That one of the only courses to get better grade point, I took a bunch of accounting courses because as an engineer, you know, math was I did pretty good in math. So that's basically accounting. There's a few rules and regs, but that was worth a good 4-point going through. Now, the funny part is when you get through and you get out of school, there's one thing you want to do. You want to make money. And you make money, then somebody wants to take your money. All right? That's what it all comes down to. So, you know what you should do? If you're doing it, make sure you take some accounting courses. And good luck to you. Okay?
Now, Will, you wanted to talk about... You wanted to talk about...
I'm in an accounting course right now, actually.
Okay.
Good.
You wanted to talk about gun control?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now it's kind of taking a different turn, but yeah, I guess so. I'm not really a liberal or a conservative. I like to think I have to go with anything with an open mind. I have a father who's actually an engineer, so I've actually fancied myself decent at math like yourself. Mother is actually a liberal, father's a Republican. On gun control, I feel like, I think I'll own a gun someday. I don't know, I want to hear more of your thoughts on it. It sounded like you disagreed with a lot of just like a typical liberal standpoint on it. I don't know. That sounded like something I wanted to hear more about.
About what now? I didn't catch
About we were talking about gun control, about over in Europe that they didn't have guns, and then we mentioned about Chicago.
Well,
they had 80 plus
let me-
shootings over the weekend.
There's a couple things. Number one, go to, it's real simple. You cross the border into Mexico, you can drive all the way down to the end of Chile or the end of Argentina. You know what they all have in common? You can't have a gun. Okay? In fact, they all, those countries, if somebody breaks into your house, you got to just tell them naughty, naughty. So if you look, everybody lives, and, if the guy's going to kill you and you stab him, they're liable to charge you with murder. You know, you should have talked to them.
Right.
All right. So then what happens?
Yeah, that seems pretty backwards to me.
It's just backwards, you see. So the greatest thing about the U.S. is we have the ability to have guns and we have property rights. So the first thing is you're at the University of Indiana, well, not across from you, but farther down the state across from in Illinois, across from St. Louis. This little town down there was getting burglarized and by, you know, all sorts of criminals coming in. So the sheriff, they elected a new sheriff, and what he did is he went out and told all the citizens, if you do not have a shotgun, let us know and we will bring you and we'll show you how to shoot and arm you. Do you know that it was the greatest drop in the history of crime in the state of Illinois? And the reason being, everybody had a gun. And the criminals then, they sure the hell ain't going over there because they were afraid one of those people would shoot them. And that's the truth. You talk about Chicago. Well, if Chicago turned around and gave everybody a gun, you would find that the shootings would drop down. But you have gangs, and you got to learn to just go and, learn to fight fire with fire.
Will, we've got to go to top of the hour news here, but thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
Good luck to you. Good luck to Indiana.
All right.
And root for Michigan.
Thank you very much.
They're going to be down in Indianapolis this weekend.
Wow.
All right.
Root for Michigan. Wow.
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
Wow.
Well, because Michigan State's playing Iowa.
That's right.
And this to all of you guys out in Iowa. You had a great team this year. Your first loss is coming up, though. I just want to let you know that.
You know what? After the top of the hour news, you can call Maury at 855-984-7499 and bring up that statement right there.
Hey.
I encourage you all to do that. We are going to top of the hour news here on Grizz Nation with Mr. Maury Taylor. Once again, you'll be able to reach us at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor. Top of the hour's news is next. And then second hour of Grizz Nation with Maury Taylor right here on the Grizz Nation Radio Network.
For 40 years, this factory boomed. Steel wheels were crafted, the best in the world. Skilled men and women worked an honest day for an honorable wage. Then, things began to change. As layers of management grew, the company became weak and bureaucratic. Our own government passed laws making it more economical to send good jobs overseas. With taxes skyrocketing, capital was non-existent, so equipment became old and outdated. The workers' pride in their product disappeared, and like many companies in America, when its problems could seemingly not be solved, it finally closed its doors. Not long after, a man who felt he had answers risked all he had and reopened that old plant, brushed aside the former executives, rehired the real workforce, and began to rebuild from the ashes. Today, Titan Wheel owns 20 plants and is in the top 0.5% of all New York Stock Exchange companies in sales and earnings growth. Maury Taylor, that man with the vision and the take-no-prisoner style, had pulled himself up from small-town welder to industrial giant. And the Grizz, as they named him on Wall Street, is now the only candidate for President of the United States with the extraordinary toughness and business experience to finally turn around the problems of our country.
If it hadn't been for him, this place wouldn't be running today. If he can run this country the way he runs this plant, he's the man we need for president.
When I found this company, it was a beat-up old factory. Management had run it into the ground. Not unlike our country. I didn't have a fancy business education, but I knew enough to take care of the people making our products. That's all it took here, and really that's all it'll take in America. Business experience, common sense, not politics. Everyone asks, how do you think you can win? Well, if Clinton can win, when will we learn that politicians are absolutely the worst people to manage our government? They're too busy talking to listen, and they have no experience whatsoever in managing a business. And how hard is it for them to understand that our government, with income and expenses and personnel, is the largest business on earth? Our government should really be managed to an even higher standard than business, because our elected officials are managing other people's money. A lot of folks I meet think the problems in our country are so bad we can't solve them. That's not true. We just keep sending the wrong people to solve them. Would you hire a politician to run your farm or your company? I'm not a politician and I'm not a lawyer. I'm in business. Focus on a problem, determine a solution, demand immediate change, then move on to the next problem. That's what I do every day, and that's what we need to do for America. It's not as hard as they've been telling us all these years. Our deficit and debt are enormous. All we need to do is start day one to cut 1/3 of the federal bureaucrats from the top and middle layers of government. And in 18 months, we'll have a balanced budget. Do you really think we'll miss them? Solving the job problem is another straightforward cure. Look out for Americans first. Get rid of the ridiculous laws that make it cheaper for American companies to build their products overseas. And get tough. Maury Taylor tough with our trading partners like Japan and China. It's one thing to say we should all play by the same rules. I'll make sure they do.
Agree with that 100%. Maury gets involved, that's the main thing. Yeah, he won't let you hang it out on a limb or nothing like that. I mean, if you got something to say, he'll listen to it.
Taxes. Don't you think any of us could have invented a better system? Maury Taylor's solution is that everyone pays something. 2% on the first $20,000 of income. I don't care if they're on welfare. Then 10% of income over $20,000. And the most anyone pays is 17% on income over $35,000. That's it. Fair for everyone. Because no one gets a free ride. Everybody pays. And finally, let's look at how politicians keep getting elected. By taking huge contributions from political action committees and special interest groups. How could we expect politicians to make sensible laws? They owe too many people too many favors. While every other candidate for president is deadly silent on campaign finance reform, PACs will be on the way out my first day in office. Tell me one thing more important than our families. Mine's my wife, Michelle, son, Tony, daughters, Katie and Maureen, and my son-in-law, Mike, and my brand new granddaughter, Megan.
And they realized that their father has always loved them so much and was always there. If it was just a phone call, he was always there.
Well, I was in Little League at the time.
GRIZZ to join in on Common Sense Talk Radio coming right at you in 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome back, everybody. You've got GrizzNation here. You got the Grizz.
Huh?
Call us at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor. I think we got a caller. Bruce, right?
Yep, I told you right before the
Hello,
break.
Bruce. How are you?
I said you bring up that Iowa-Michigan State game. Oh, boy. Bruce,
Go ahead, Bruce.
Bruce, welcome to GrizzNation with Maury Taylor.
Hey, it's good. It's nice to hear your show. It's awesome to hear you. I agree with everything about Obama. I'm not an Obama fan, but I'm sitting here in Iowa City. I'm a truck driver, and I tell you, we're coming to Michigan State up there in Indianapolis with both barrels loaded because we're power, and we don't have anybody hurt on our team, and we're going to be a powerhouse.
Well,
I told you.
Now, you just watched, you know, a team called the Buckeyes last week. State went down there and took care of our friends in Ohio.
Yeah.
Then they invited the guys from, you know, from Pennsylvania. Penn State showed up.
Yep.
And they had a quarterback, you know, 6'4", 240. He set every record at his career for Penn State offensively. But we got everybody back too, Bruce. So, you know, we've been playing injured all year, and they're kind of like just warming up. Now, I've seen a couple games that Iowa's played, and let me tell you that you've had a good team. But you know that moving in on there into Indianapolis, playing in a dome, you know, the fellows from, if you look at it, Michigan State's played more people in the top and beat them than anybody else.
Right.
So it's going to be a great, great game. There's no question about it. And I know you got some big boys with all that corn and, you know.
They're all corn-fed.
They're all corn-fed.
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
But I think that it's going to be a hell of a game. But
it will be.
I think that, you know, that State will probably win that by 10 points.
Whoa.
So,
well, Bruce, what do you think of that?
Well, I don't think it'll be that much, but I tell you, watch out for our defense. Our defense is incredible.
I agree. You got a good defense, but the boys at Michigan, you know, they shut down everybody. Nobody's really, when they have had their regular group on defense, you're going to see quite a few of them go to the pros. So, but that's what makes it so great, you know.
That's college football.
And
it's going to be a fantastic game. But boy, don't rule us out because we're coming.
I understand you're coming, you know. Just don't all you guys from Iowa get excited and lose your way going to Indianapolis. You know?
Jeez. Oh,
you know, you guys get over in Illinois. You're liable to get saddled over there. You see?
I mean, back here in Iowa, we're so excited back in Iowa when the Hawkeyes are playing. There ain't a car on the highways or anywhere. The streets are all dead. Everybody's watching the TV right now.
I believe that. I believe that.
That's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Bruce, I invite you next week to please call back and talk to the Grizz here about the results.
I will. I definitely will. I will call back, and hopefully you can just chew me out. Say, Bruce, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we'll find out. But meanwhile, on the politics side, you guys just, because as you said, down there, the previous caller who was talking about Austin, the liberal elites down there,
Yeah.
Iowa City
Uh-oh.
is just the, that's the liberal side of Iowa too. You got some real left bangers there. And in Michigan, it's called Ann Arbor.
That's
you
right.
see?
That's right.
Our Michigan State is a little bit like Iowa State, okay? And there was quite a few years, the past few years, those engineering boys, the geeks up in Iowa City.
Oh, boy.
I mean, up in, what is it, Ames, they kind of like gave the poor people of the Hawkeyes a rough showing.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Anyhow, I do know a little bit about Iowa. All right, but it
I
will
know
be
that's good, and I will keep you. But Iowa, we're coming with both barrels loaded. You were talking about guns. We're coming with both barrels loaded, and I will call you next Sunday.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you guys just don't get so excited that you shoot yourself coming over. Okay, so they ain't got to worry about you guys.
I'll keep the gun on safety.
Okay.
Yeah, keep the barrel cracked open. All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. You have a great time.
I'm calling you next Sunday.
Next Sunday, I'll be waiting for the call. All right.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you, Bruce.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Well, see, I told you.
Well,
I told you. You know,
Bruce
you
is
go
going
ahead.
to Indianapolis.
That's right.
That's good.
You basically, you cannot. You know college football. You know the whole deal. You can't tell the people in Iowa and
I'm
WHL
not
here and
politically
everything.
correct. So
No, that's true. That is true.
I take
Yeah.
a stance, okay?
So
if
anybody,
I take a stance, and
anybody else wants to call on any issue that we've talked about, including Maury's statement that Michigan State will beat Iowa in Indianapolis this Saturday, you can call us at 855-984-7499 or tweet us at Maury Taylor. And Maury, did you see the tweet?
No.
You didn't see the tweet. Okay, well, you know what? We had a tweet. What'd you do?
I haven't touched nothing.
Oh, there you see right there. Mike G on Twitter.
Mike G.
Mike G on Twitter has a tweet.
On Twitter.
For you, Mr. Maury Taylor.
Schools used to teach firearms used back in the day. Why don't they do that anymore, in your opinion? Well, that's because back in the day that you're referring to, Mike G., you ran your schools. You didn't have the federal government rolling the schools.
Right.
And the amount of money. I went to a small school. I believe schools should all be small. But you notice the teachers' unions, and once the unions got involved, the schools have went to hell. All right? Why do you think universities have gone to hell? They got great football teams. They got great basketball teams. Those things have gotten better and better, but the education's gotten worse and worse.
Right.
And the reason being is they have what they call tenure. It's nuts. The whole thing is nuts. So that's the reason they don't teach it, and they charge too much, and they don't stop to give an education that they should. But here's the reason, and here's another good reason. The climate conference, a powerful rebuke to the terrorists. Our President Obama is going to Paris this week for the big climate conference, and it's going to be a rebuke to the terrorists because he's going. Do you think those fools that are riding around in our tanks, our Humvees, our big buffaloes, everything they got from the Iraqi army, because they ran, and they're all sitting there talking about climate change.
Right.
Well, that's because the president don't seem to understand our Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and it's been cooling. It's been cooling, and it'll continue to cool. And then, heaven help us, if you have an asteroid hits our moon, what do you think it would do? It'll probably knock it off of course. It'll have a bang into the Earth. It bangs on the Earth. You know, that's going to be a bad scene.
Wait a minute. The moon ricocheting into Earth?
Yeah. If you hit it with an asteroid coming across and hits it, yeah. And you don't even know if one's coming. You see stars. What do you think happens?
Well,
you know, there people don't understand the galaxy. We're sitting here. We live such a short time. You know, what do we go back? How many thousands of years? That's nothing. You want to talk a million? Planet's 4.5. Do you think that this planet was like it is today, that it had water? No. This planet, we're spinning right now, and we're traveling around the sun.
Right.
And the North Pole, over so many years, will be where the South Pole, it also indexes. So, you know, like I said before, college education, they don't even have an answer because they don't know. All right? So.
Well, terrorism is caused by climate change.
Yeah, well, that's what our president thinks, and any other idiot that will. They don't have an answer. They don't know what to do.
No.
But I'll tell you what: if we were to join with the Russians, you know, the Russians and the U.S. we're the two baddest dudes in the whole world. Only two superpowers. It isn't the Chinese, and it sure the hell is not the Europeans, okay? They're all nicey-nicey. The French have nice wine, you know. But let's get real, folks, okay? They can't even go down and straighten up the Middle East, okay? You know, because they just don't. They want to sit in their cafes, so fine. And they've let them all in. Now they got a big problem, okay?
Yeah.
And Obama and all the rest of the people want to do the same thing here. You know, like I said earlier, you know, he's already said this is not a Christian nation. Well, the Muslims want to get rid of the Christians, and that's what's going on. And if we're not going to go over there and straighten it out, then nobody will.
They don't.
And with the Russians, between the two of us, we would kick down. Actually, what we should say to the Russians is we're going to help you. And why don't we let them take it over, okay?
Okay, so
they can control the oil.
Between the Russians, the French, and the United States, who do you think the terrorists fear in what order? Like ISIS.
In the real world right now, I think they would have more fear of the Russians.
Yeah.
Because the Russians, until they get shown what happens, you know, you gotta when you go to war, you know, you can't let everything be run from Washington. That you're just nuts. What we have right now is a bunch of educated elites in the White House or in Washington,
right,
who are dictating. Planes are flying out with bombs to go on a bombing mission, and they say, "Oh, you can't push the button or drop them until you fly by them and show us a picture. Let's see." And they're back like they're on video games. What they ought to do is put a taser right back through and taser those fools. I mean, we're idiotic.
So
okay?
you'd say it's Russia, France, and then the United States?
No, it's Russia. France is a great country, but, you know, yeah, they go over and bomb a few places that we should have hit, but you can't go by Obama. Obama's not going to win nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that does ISIS fear the United States led by the president?
No.
Okay.
No, they don't. They already know. Because he's already, I just read earlier, he's already said he's a Muslim, and he's going to go talk to him, you know. But he's not going to talk to him unless somebody takes all their guns away from him. Okay?
Right, yeah. Okay.
Then he's going to talk to him. That's the way it's going to be.
Well,
you know.
That's the way it's going to be.
They show a picture when he's running with Hillary, shooting a gun or something.
Oh, no. The babe?
Yeah.
The babe shooting a gun?
But you know, that's what
as long as Uma Wiener's with her.
Oh, I tell you, those, you know, it's something really weird there, you know, with Uma
Wiener?
Wiener and Hillary.
Uma Wiener.
It's just 20 years.
Uma
Truthfully, Hillary and Bill both should have been put in jail.
Okay.
Bill for accosting women, raping, or whatever you want to call it, and Hillary and what she's did and violate, and they think they're above the law. And the reason that they're survivors is because they're making money for Wall Street and the rest of them. I mean, it's sickening, you know. So, you know, yeah, the Democrats don't have anybody. I mean, think about it, you know. And this is another thing when you go to vote, people. Think about this. If you've been a Democrat all your life, or if you're young and you think you should vote, then think about this. When the Democrats were in power, the president's still in power, and that's the biggest one. But think about Harry Reid, and you think about Nancy Pelosi. Do you know you have to have stupid and holes drilled through your head if you voted for those two? Those are the best two leaders, okay? Anybody tell you Nancy's worth about $400 million? And how did Harry become multi-million? Because they've been stealing blind. I mean, wake up, you know? So they're crooked as hell. It is pathetic. It's really pathetic. But anyhow, the babe, hey, 67%. No, she lies all the time. She is a pathetic liar, okay? And her husband, ex-president, he's just a real good liar, and he smiles at you.
He's good at it. No, he's smooth.
He is a liar.
He's smooth.
And he just has this passion for young women. And now he's what you'd call a dirty old man. And any way you want to cut it, you know. But Hillary is losing, you know, in the latest polls. Well, who cares about the latest polls, you know? I mean, you just really think about who's giving you the numbers, you know.
You don't like polls, do you?
You know, MSNBC. I mean, give me a break.
You just don't like polls.
Because it's a way off. Everything can change, okay? But she is bad. She is really, really bad.
I mean, she's even losing to Trump now, isn't she?
And the media is trying to save her, you know, and all the rest of them.
What can you do?
You know, you have to stop and ask yourself, especially if you're out in Iowa, why would you even go out to a caucus
in 64 days
for the people you got running for president?
On the Democrat side.
On the Democrat side.
Right.
You could go, I tell you what, why don't you just go down the street and get some homeless people and stick them in there and vote for them? You'd be better off. At least they wouldn't steal from you. You know, they'd be thankful that you gave them a job. The rest of this group, you know, you've got a conscientious objector and senators. Why don't he go? He should go to China. He loves being a communist. Send him back to China. You know?
You're talking Bernie?
Bernie Sanders.
Feeling the burn?
Bernie.
Let's
but
take...
how do damn people from Vermont send them, you know?
I mean, Vermont's a different...
Tree-hugging weirdos. All right? Now we got to get to my Grizz talk.
We got a break to go to, so... if you
here, give us a call if you have toll free. It's 855.
That's right.
984 7499, or tweet us at Maury Taylor, and bring some tweets in.
That's right. We'll read them.
Tweets.
You are listening to Grizz Nation with Maury Taylor on the Grizz Nation Radio Network, and we'll be right back.
This is for all you farmers out there in Grizz Nation who thought you could get better performance by dumping your tractor tires in favor of tracks. It might have seemed like a good idea at the time, but that was before you knew about a new technology in farm tires called LSW, developed by Goodyear Farm Tires, made by Titan. LSW stands for low sidewalls. That allows tires to operate on lower air pressure. LSW can outperform any track, horsepower to horsepower, with less compaction, a smoother ride, and lower fuel costs. We have hundreds of farmers who can tell you what they have found using the Goodyear Farm LSW tires and wheels. Just go to lswadvantage.com or call 1-800-USA-BEAR or see your local farm implement dealer. You'll be surprised at what you'll discover. No one knows your farm tire needs any better than the Van Wall John Deere Goodyear folks in Madrid, Iowa. And right now, you can upgrade your late model four-wheel drive, tractor, and combines with all the new Goodyear LSW tires made by Titan at remarkable prices and get a fair value for your trade-in. Don't keep running 40-year-old tire technology. Change over to LSWs. Reduce your risk of operating in wet conditions. Keep on going in conditions that cause others to change fields. And lower your fuel costs to boot. John Deere is now offering the LSW option on their rubber-tired four-wheel drives. So you know this is the real deal. To get a quote from one of the your farm tire needs.
Welcome back to Grizz Nation. Think it's bad now? You ain't seen nothing yet. Just dial 855-98-GRIZZ to ask the Grizz.
And we are back. Welcome back to Grizz Nation here on the Grizz Nation Radio Network. Thomas LeDuc once again sitting along right next to the host of this show, Mr. Maury Taylor. And once again, you can reach out to us at 855-984-7499. That's Bernie Sanders would love it because it's toll free. 855-984-7499 or at Maury Taylor. The Grizz loves reading your tweets. And Mr. Taylor, you're now into your Grizz growls.
Yep, we got the Grizz growls. And the first one here, you know, it's so odd because it's the real cost of the Democratic, environmentalist, all the Democratic, even Tunka, the head of the AFL-CIO.
AFL-CIO.
Yeah. He was the head of the coal industry, the miners' union.
Richard Trumka, yeah.
And now he's right in line with the tree huggers. Well, here's the cost, folks. You know, in Michigan here, we're shutting them all down. They don't know when the hell they're going to get the power, but they're shutting them all down, you know, and the new economics. This is what Obama's going to leave you with.
Yep.
But remember, it isn't Obama. It's Democrats. It's Democrats. Chuck Schumer's going to replace dear old Harry. So Harry's bad. But if you think there's any relief with Schumer coming, that idiot, no. They should have, you know, thrown him away too.
The senior senator from New York.
The new study, economic study.
Charles Schumer.
Yep. Obama's war on coal is going to cost us 126,000 jobs and $650 billion.
Damn.
Now, you got to be kidding. Now, you know, of course, China's building a new coal-burning plant like every week. So it's so stupid. It is just stupidity. You know, they like to show you a picture. Number one, if you see white smoke coming out, generally that's like the clouds. That's just got a lot of water in it, okay? But they don't look at the numbers. They don't care. And you got to realize something. It's always somebody else behind them who wants you to be gouged and pay more, all right?
Yep.
Remember, all these windmill, they're killing the birds, they're killing all this other stuff, and they catch fire, they burn. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to see any of that,
There's
okay?
nothing wrong with killing
And then
birds.
what happens? Those are gears, folks.
Yeah.
Those are gear motors.
Yeah.
They go, and you got to make it AC to get it down, okay? Then they start moving the wires. You know, this isn't flying through the air. and all you guys with your cell phone and bring up your iPads.
What are you doing with that?
How do you think it gets around? Zipping through the air, runs right through your head too.
You terrified me when you did that right there.
So anyhow, they don't. The true thing is, they don't give a damn about the working guy. They really don't. All right, and in trees, understand something. Trees grow so long and then they die. Okay,
they do die.
There are a few big redwoods out in California that don't. Okay, they keep on growing,
but they can die.
So, but they will eventually. Yeah. Yes. So, but we got trees that just grow for like 35 years and boom, away they go.
Away they go. That's true.
So that's just what happens. The scary part is the war that they're having on coal, and you got the EPA. Every state has their own EPA.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of federal EPA. They're nuts.
They're crazy.
The whole thing. They should shut the whole thing down and just have about 500 people max. But Congress, they don't know what the hell's going on.
Grizz, we've got a caller, Jim from North Iowa, would like to discuss the government size and Rand Paul. Jim?
Yeah.
Welcome to Grizz.
When you mention the list of people who can shrink government, and you leave out Rand Paul, he's the best one for shrinking government of all of them.
Okay.
And he can actually do it, where these others don't. They're not going to do it. First of all, they're just.
Well, now listen. I like the doc.
Talking about.
I like the doc.
I believe Rand Paul is the smartest, most grown-up person running for president right now.
Well, okay. The first thing is, Jim, is let me say this, okay? I've run a business, still running one, and we started with 0 employees, got up to 8,000. Now we're back down to probably just south of probably about 4,800, I think. So it's tough to cut, and I just. Rand Paul is a doctor, my doctor, but I do not know where the ability of his to, in past history, to be able to cut and how to cut and who are the people you hire that you hold responsible to get it done, because you can't do it all yourself. And I just ask you that, and you say he can cut them, but I do know that Trump has had thousands of people work for him. Carla Fiorina, she did cut a lot of people. The Doc Carson has not, and neither has Ted Cruz. But I'm just curious how you think Senator Paul has done it.
Well, he built up an excellent medical practice, and he sold it, but he's never gone bankrupt like Trump has.
Well, first,
of course, it wasn't him that went bankrupt. It was his entities that went bankrupt.
Yeah, it wasn't him. But you got to remember. Now, wait a minute. Let's understand. He went and borrowed money, built big casinos. Okay, then they borrowed, more bonds, and even after. Atlantic City was going down the tubes. The bondholders didn't want certain things, so they put him into bankruptcy. So I happen to know a little bit about that. Now, what happened is he continued to get finance for all other businesses and buildings that he built. So it's there's no question that's part of business in the business that he's in. And those bondholders, if he was so bad, they would have he'd never been able to sell bonds again, but he did. And so,
but he doesn't even know who's general of a foreign enemy or a general of a U.S. enemy. I know that might have been a gotcha question, but the thing is he's not well informed in government and foreign events like Rand Paul is. I believe he'd be, trusting 100% on his advisors that he would hire and not on his own ability.
Well, let me ask you this then. I have factories all around the world. I don't necessarily know who the generals or anything else, but I don't have any Americans in any factory outside of the U.S. The factories we bought, I have people that go over there, help. I bring them over here, but I figure if you're going to be in Russia, you should have Russians running your plant. If you're in Italy, the Italians run it. If you're in South in Brazil, Brazilians run it. I get a little skittish about everybody thinks because somebody can rattle you off the name of this guy or that guy, but they don't even have a basic understanding of the different cultures in those countries. So, they go to a lot of cocktail parties. You might have some aide because you're there, fill you with all that. I've been quoted many times in the Paris news and everything else on their 60 Minutes because I had a union guy ask me when I went through a big tire plant, what did I think? And I told him the truth. I says, you got a 7-hour work week. 1 hour you have breaks, you're paid for it. It leaves 6 hours to work. You work for 3 hours, and then you spend the next 3 hours walking around talking. I says, so, if you don't get, you want big wages, it's not going to work. So I understand what you're saying, but
I'd like to share another example.
Sure.
Like during this last debate, Trump was going on and on about how bad of a deal we made with China in that Asian deal. And he just went on and on about that. And Rand Paul had to inform him that China wasn't even part of the deal, wasn't even in the negotiation of the deal. And Trump had no knowledge of that.
Well, now that came out that's not quite so. All right. And you're talking about the Pacific Trade Agreement. And the reason that everybody was trying to get that agreement and rush it through.
Yeah, they were trying to rush it through, yeah.
Hopefully that this would give these other Asian countries, more of a influence into the U.S. market. Now, let me help you out on trade since I'm worldwide. Our trade policies started with, number one, with the Clintons. The first thing the Clintons did was recognize China and give China favored nation. And that was back in the 93.
Yeah, 93, 94, yep.
And then what happened is that was the same time the Russians had overthrown the communist regime, and you had, they were going to be a democratic elected
Boris Yeltsin
politicians.
Yep.
Now, they were going in a depression. Now, did we help them out? No. We didn't do one damn thing. But you just turned around to a communist nation that turned around and they had nothing but cheap labor. Now, when we did that deal, what could they really sell to us? They couldn't do nothing. But what happened? You had big business. You had Walmart. You had, if you went and got, where do you think chickens? We sent chickens over there, and they would carve them all up, freeze them, send them back. That was your chicken McNuggets, okay? And then you had all the boys from Walmart moved whole factories, had their suppliers move factories. Nothing for China, send it back. Then eventually, after we build up their manufacturing base, then there's more things they want to buy from us, like airplanes. Now, you look at the years of 20 years, and what's happening? Now they're going to compete with us with the airplane. It's closed. The whole thing that Americans don't realize, we are the biggest market in the world. We're bigger than Europe. We're the biggest. And how did we get there? We got a bunch of fools that don't understand trade. It wasn't until the progressives, you go back to 1913, you got an income tax. Prior to that, there was a duty on everything that was brought in here. Now, a tariff is better than a duty, but the same thing's happening now in Mexico. You're looking at all the automotive plants and everything. They're building them, the billions going in, because it's a lot cheaper in Mexico than in the U.S. And why do you want illegal immigrants? Why do they want all these illegals coming in? They want them to come in for cheap labor. In fact, how any person, any black American could ever vote for the Democrats is beyond me, because the cities, inner cities, are a mess. But you have got to turn around as a nation and say, wait a minute, our steel mills are laying everybody off, but our auto industry is going strong. Why? Because China dropped the price and they're sending steel in. Everybody else in the world, because we let it come in. You can't ship over there. Steel from Brazil is coming in here. You can't ship it to Brazil. They won't let it in. So when you have Trump telling you we have the dumbest people in the world, yeah, they're dumb, but they're dumb. They're lining their own. Chinese tires. I have a big tire plant right in Des Moines, and I have them in the U.S., and I have them around the world. But I produce for the Northern America. Well, the Chinese were just dumping stuff. What do you have to do? I had to sue. I had to sue and prove to get our government. So, this thing is, it's a complicated thing. But let me tell you this: your whole lifetime, you have never voted for anybody that was not a politician. And you look at how bad off we are. And you look back, and I'm 71, so I go back, to the 60s. But I can tell you right now, there's three of them that have never been elected office. One of the three, in my opinion, would do a better job than anyone that's been elected. But that's just my opinion, and I appreciate your opinion.
Jim,
and Ram is a good man.
Yeah.
There's no question about
Jim,
it.
I'll let you have a last word, and then we got to move on.
Okay. Well, I was going to comment about Clinton. Of course, I believe they both ought to be in prison also. But years ago, when Caspar Weinberger was Secretary of Defense.
Yep.
Clinton tried to get him to release the military patents to the Secretary of Commerce. And Caspar Weinberger refused, and he resigned over that, yet he didn't publicly say why he resigned, but that's the reason he resigned. And then Ron Braun got in.
Yep.
And anyway, Clinton released these military patents to the Secretary of Commerce, and then he basically gave them to the Chinese, especially rocket technology to be able to launch rockets.
Up until then,
and the guidance systems.
Yeah, up until then, the Chinese couldn't get a rocket
Yeah,
off the ground.
100% right,
Yep.
Jim. And
at the time, my sister worked for MDA, our Missile Defense Agency,
right,
and she still does. But anyway, Clinton at the time tried to get secrets about our ballistic missile defense program. Everybody knows it's Star Wars, but it was never called that. But they refused to give that information to Clintons, to Bill Clinton, because they knew that he was risky and was going to share it with
I'll tell you,
the
you get the book, The Clintons,
I was going to say this book.
War on Women.
Yeah.
And you'll be shocked.
You will be.
You'll shake yourself. And you're right. Remember this. The Chinese, they could make, your fireworks, boom, go up, but they exploded. They couldn't send a rocket up.
That's right.
Because they didn't have the technology for
That's
the
right.
gyros. And it was Laurel Space Systems and a Jewish fella that owned it. He made a big donation to the Clintons, and he's the one who Clinton stopped. They were going to turn around, and the government was going to, because he violated the Espionage Act, and you're 100% right, but Clinton didn't give anything away. Laurel sold them to the Chinese. He got the money. Clinton's got a cut that went into his campaign.
Oh, there you go.
And the guy should have been in jail.
Well, went to his library from the Chinese military.
That's right. And
the Chinese military gave Clinton a bunch of money for his library.
All right, Jim. Thank you.
Hillary is working.
Hey, I love your show.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
James.
Jim. Thank
you
you
have
for
a
the
great
call.
week. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
now we got. Let's see. We got a few more minutes. So
yeah.
Okay. Hillary in bed with the media. Is that a shock? The liberal media? No way. She's been working hand. It's not surprising. According to emails, Hillary Clinton worked with CNN to help smear Jim's man, Rand Paul, during the 2013 Benghazi testimony. Now, everybody should remember, on Clinton's watch, that tragedy took place and we lost an ambassador, and the whole true story hasn't come out, and neither has and Obama's hands are not clean in it either. But she hasn't been held accountable. That is a fact. Now, the Hillary and Billy Clinton machine, they haven't gone after or tried to discredit, the media. They won't do that. They never have. And the babe will say and do anything to try to get herself in the Oval Office. I don't think she can, with the amount of lies she does, the amount of people, the media is really, really,
Well,
they got everything resting on her.
Hold on. Let me ask you this, because you made this prediction a couple months ago.
Yep.
You said by the end of the year, she would be out of it.
Well, I think she still will if Obama does what I think he's going to do.
December 1st is a Tuesday, and then 31 days after that.
We'll have to see.
All right.
But the babe's dictionary is shrinking. She's still terrified of the political priest, just like Obama.
Right.
They both refuse to use the radical Islam, Babe won't use it because she doesn't want to upset Obama.
That's right.
Because if you notice, he's coming out more and more, which I said earlier in the talking points. He's basically, the Islamist says, I am a Muslim. He's saying, I am,
Think he's going to just admit it right before he leaves office? I fooled you the whole time, kids.
I don't think he'll do that because he's trying to get some money now. Okay? So, but we still have, she's not going to say to Babe, what'd she come out? She's not going to say illegal immigrant.
Yeah, she's not going to say it either.
Taking that out.
Or radical Islam.
Radical.
Yeah, she won't say radical Islam either. Yeah.
And her supporters all think that's right? You got to be nuts, folks. You got to be nuts. In fact, I'll even pay. If you want to leave the country and give up your citizenship, I'll round up enough money. We'll send you all out of the country. We're getting too many people anyhow, okay? So,
wow.
Send me a tweet on that. All right? I mean, I'm getting tired of these people who, want to change everything. So, anyhow, the Democrats get, they don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
not being very enjoyable anymore either.
I mean, seriously, you know what? If there was a sect of Christianity that was going around bombing people, I think we could say radical Christians, right?
Oh, we could say a lot of stuff, you know. But,
That's right. That's true.
It is what it is. So, anyhow, MSNBC giving the terrorists airtime since 2013.
Is that Chris Matthews?
Now, no.
Oh.
They gave a guy who said that the U.S. no-fly list was unfairly targeting Muslims.
Yep.
So this is 2013, 2 years ago.
Right.
That man's name was Sadiq Long. He was arrested in Turkey last week under the suspicion of being part of an ISIS cell. Now we got MSNBC, Mother Jones, the Council of American Islamic Relations, all rallied behind this guy. They're all pretty quiet now, aren't they?
Yep.
Turns out the no-fly list is an effort to keep American people safe, all right? It's not an effort to randomly forbid Muslims from flying, but the left freaks out. They put forth this poster boy. They couldn't wait to have him on. They're so brilliant. Now, you don't hear a damn word. You know, a conservative talk show couldn't do this any better. The fact that these fools gave airtime to anybody that challenges Republicans, now they kind of look stupid, you know? Better yet, they're morons. Better yet, CNN, MSNBC, why don't they just close them or fire the damn people? I mean, you got to start looking. So Comcast, maybe everybody should just tell Comcast to go bag it.
Oh.
Go to DirecTV, okay? I don't know.
I like Comcast.
Okay. Oh, you know the governor, a couple of weeks ago we talked about the governor from Kentucky.
That's right.
You know, they're replacing him with a Republican.
Yep.
Now he's mad as hell. So he's going to fix him. So what do you think he's doing? They got 180,000 felons. He's going to give them the right to vote now. So that's good. Okay. All you poor people down in Kentucky, now your governor's going to give them all the right to vote. You know, I mean, that's really pathetic. Okay.
Well, Matt Bevin will be able to change that.
Pardon?
Yep, Matt Bevin, the incoming Republican governor, will be able to rescind that, right?
I have no idea.
Well,
but
hopefully.
you'd think he should. But,
Yeah.
You know, but it does tell you, it reminds me of the Clintons, how they pardoned everybody under the sun and anybody with a checkbook to give him a check, you know, when he was president. They don't have any respect for the law. And you wait to Obama. He's going to have to pass Clinton on giving the pardons out. And, you know, people forget it's a privilege to vote. It's a privilege. You can lose that right. All right? And yet the Democrats, they want illegal, they want the dead, they want anybody to vote. Or better yet,
Felons.
They don't want any of you to vote, and they'll just automatically choose your leadership. That's how they do. Now we got Obamacare. Now, you know, I didn't know this till I got the information earlier when I told you. The Muslims, Obama exempted them from Obamacare. They don't have to pay the penalties. Now, you've heard about, you know, none of the Obamacare, what's coming out is good.
Yeah.
The policies are dying before our eyes. So insurance companies are dropping this stuff. The doctors are dropping. I mean, you know, the next thing we know is the Democrats will say, like Bernie Sanders, the one-payer system, we're going to join the Canadian. So everybody has to go to Canada to get your medical care. You know,
Which if you're
come
in
to
Vermont,
Michigan and
it's
you
right,
find out
pretty
the
close.
Canadians, they drive over here to get their medical care. All right, they do send the bill to the Canadians. They're messed up. So Obama and his lackeys, they shoved it through Congress.
That was a mess.
You know, remember Nancy?
Yep.
We have to pass it to know what's in it. Oh, she's all excited.
You do a really good Nancy Pelosi impersonation.
Well,
You really do.
Her and Harry, how stupid. Like I said earlier in the show, if you're a Democrat, you got to ask yourself, how do you get such stupid leaders?
Well, it's a good question.
Just think about it. You're believing the BS they're giving you? You better back up, okay? Hey, there's a lot of them on the Republican side too. I'm not thrilled with Mitch McConnell. I'd like to know why all the Republican senators chose him as the majority leader. And I think they should
next in line
pull him out.
Next in line.
This is not a seniority. This doesn't go that way, folks.
Well, it shouldn't.
So
no, it shouldn't at all. Now we're wrapping up. We're coming to the end here, Grizz. What do you got on tap for this week?
Well, on this week, I fly out tomorrow to Quincy. Then I end up going to New York on Thursday and Friday.
All right.
And then I think the following, I'll be here next weekend, do the show.
Yeah.
And I think I fly out to, it looks like now, to South America, and then come back on Saturday from down there.
Well, you're gonna have some people to answer to about this game, Iowa and Michigan State.
Oh, I love to do that.
Okay.
And then I got to get out to Iowa and go see some of the farmers. And as you've heard some of these ads on the LSW, I can just tell all of you farmers, the technology with an LSW tire and wheel makes every piece of equipment perform better. Whether it's your combine, tractor, planter, you name it, it'll perform better.
Okay.
And save you money.
Sounds good. Tweet Maury at Maury Taylor during the week. He tweets and also responds. Thank you once again for listening to Grizz Nation here on the Grizz Nation Radio Network.
And all of you out there, remember, the Clintons, War on Women. It's a New York Times best-selling author, Roger Stone.
Mr. Stone. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you again next week here, Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. Central, 7 to 9 Eastern on Grizz Nation, right here on the Grizz Nation Radio Network.